Charbonneau, 25 CR 7180-7181.
Your Honor, he refused to come to bail hearing, asking to continue it until Monday.
And I do find his absence is good cause to continue the bail hearing to
Okay, and that court date is going to be October 13, 2025. That'll be at 1:30 p.m. in Department 1. Bail stands. Actually, that takes us to page 3. City of Henderson versus Eric Conger, 25 CR 7204.
Your Honor, he refused to come to the bail hearing, asking to continue until Monday.
Thank you. I do find his absence is good cause to continue the bail hearing to Monday. And prior to the court session, I did review the declaration of arrest for probable cause purposes. I do find there's probable cause for the arrest.
If not return court date again, it's going to be October 13, 2025. That's going to be at 3 p.m. in Department 2. That takes us to page 4, City of Henderson versus Vladisov Drakonisov, 25 CR 7195.
Your Honor, he refused to come to the bail hearing, asking to continue until Monday.
I find his absence is good cause to continue the bail hearing to Monday.
This is continued until Monday, October 13, 2025. That will be at 3 p.m. Bail stands. Judge, we're on page 6. City of Henderson versus Gregory Hahn, 25 CR 7165-7164.
Your Honor, he refused to come to the bail hearing, asked to continue.
And Your Honor, if the city can be heard, the city is actually not filing charges in this case.
Thank you. And so he'll be released on his own recognizance.
That takes us to page 7. City of Henderson versus Charles Herendeen, 25 CR 7167, 66, and 68.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charges of violating a protective order, resisting a public officer, and trespass. We're going to begin first with arguments from the prosecution.
And Your
Mr.
Honor,
Java.
I apologize, Your Honor. And at this time, the city is requesting $1,000 cash only on each count with a no contact with a named victim, which is Bella Herendeen, and a stay away from 866 Waterloo Drive. There's clear and convincing evidence that is the least restrictive means to ensure the defendant, 1, shows up to court, and 2, does not continue to commit crimes. The city would highlight he's got 3 total bench warrants, with 1 being as recent as September 11th, 2025, and that was for a battery domestic violence charge. On the NPR, he's a 9, rated as high. His 1 cycle in California, it's from 1998, possession of controlled substances, but it looks like he did the diversion program. In Nevada, he's got 7 prior arrests: battery, domestic violence, resisting public officer, DUI, possession of a firearm under the influence. In this case, he was previously evicted. He refused to exit the residence. When he did exit, he exited from the back, hopped a wall, ran from the cops. They had to use K9 to find him. He also made suicidal threats and threats regarding a weapon. So based on that totality, the city is requesting $1,000 cash only with a no contact and a stay away.
And Mr. Java, the address noted, is that a residence?
That is a residence.
Thank you. Ms. Mercer.
Oh, yes, Your Honor. So there is an update to the risk assessment in that he is not employed but is on disability. So that should qualify, bringing his score to an 8, asking for a reasonable bail to be set at this time.
Mr. Java, the battery domestic violence case you noted, is that the one noted on the pre-trial risk assessment, 25 CR 4691?
I believe it is court's indulgence. No, that one is a 23 CR 021262.
All right. Can you look that case up, Emily?
Sorry, I missed the case number that she said.
It's, I'd like to see the one listed, the 25 CR 4691.
Do you want to see the complaint, Judge?
Sure.
Oh, it's actually a citation.
All right, looks like it's a citation for parking an inoperable vehicle. Is there an arraignment date or has that been set for trial?
Judge. Here we go. 11.
That's the trial date.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Set for trial November 4th. All right, sir, given that history and the pending pretrial case, I am finding that there is clear and convincing evidence that bail is the least restrictive means, both to secure your presence at future court dates as well as for the safety of the community and the named victim in this case. And so I'm going to require bail. It is going to be $1,000 cash only on each of the 3 charges. And I am imposing the conditions of release that were requested. So there are 3 of them. The first is to have no contact with the named victim, and that means no contact whatsoever. Sir, any questions about that particular order?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I need to admonish you that any violation of the no contact order may result in a new misdemeanor charge, modification or addition of a new condition of release, revocation of bail and remand to custody, or the imposition of any other penalty prescribed by law. The second condition of release is that you stay away from the residence at the address noted on Waterloo. And the third is to have no further arrests or citations. And so, sir, we'll see you for your arraignment on Monday, okay?
And
Yes,
just
John.
before we go any further, is Bella, B-E-L-L-A, Bella?
Yes.
Harrington? Thank you.
That is correct.
And stay away 866 Waterloo Drive.
That is correct.
Okay, these are continued to Monday, October 13, 2025, 3 p.m. Department 2.
Go, sir.
Page 9, City of Henderson versus Megan Kim, 25 CR 7171.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charge of wrongfully possessing a shopping cart. We're going to begin with arguments from the city. Ms. Strujava.
And Your Honor, at this time, the city is not filing charges in this case.
All right, so ma'am, you're going to be released on your own recognizance on this charge based on that information, okay?
Thank you. We're on page 10, City of Henderson versus Helen Love, 25 CR 7193.
He refused to come to the bail hearing today, asking to continue this until his arraignment on Monday.
And I'm finding his absence is good cause to continue the bail hearing to Monday.
This is continued to October 13, 2025. That's at 1:30 p.m. Department 3 bail stands. That takes us to page 11. City of Henderson versus Joshua Martin, 25 CR 7161.
Excuse me.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charge of domestic battery. We're going to begin first with arguments from the city. Mr. Javana.
And Your Honor, at this time, the city is requesting bail be set in the amount of $3,000 bondable with a no contact with the named victim. There's clear and convincing evidence that is the least restrictive means to ensure that defendant shows up to court, but most importantly, does not continue to commit crimes. The city will point out he is a 5 in the NPR, however, with an override. He was labeled as high. He does have a charge of July 20th of 2025.
That's not true, ma'am. It was just moderate.
Mr. Martin, Mr. Martin, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak. First, I'm going to hear from the attorneys though, okay?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Javna, please continue.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, he was override to a high. He has an arrest of July 20th, 2025 for a battery. He also has a CCDC hold. I know that there is a case number in CCDC. However, my battery case doesn't show a case number, so I'm not sure if it's that. The city will point out, per the report, they had a call for service regarding a potential battery domestic violence incident on September 30th and September 18th at the same address. The city has serious concerns because in this case, originally the defendant lied about the victim being present inside the home. He said that she had left. When they pressed him, he admitted that she was present. When she ultimately came out, he wouldn't originally allow her to speak to officers alone. They had to force to separate them so they can speak to her, and that's obviously a very huge concern for the city. Additionally, he does have a 2022 contempt for municipal court in Henderson. So based on that, the city is requesting the $3,000 bondable, but more importantly, the no contact with the named victim. The city does believe this victim is in serious danger, and police's ability to protect her if he has contact, and him trying to conceal her from police. She also had injuries consistent with a battery on her.
Thank you. Ms. Purser.
Yes, Your Honor. So there is a update to the risk assessment that he's a full employed full-time working at Taco Bell. So that would bring his score to a 4, which is a low risk. So he's asking for an OR reduction in the bail, and he's aware that he'll go to CCDC after this and take care of that.
All right, Mr. Martin, was there something you wanted to say? Just keep in mind, the only decision the court is making today is whether or not bail is appropriate based on any factors that may indicate you would be a risk of failing to appear in court in the future or be a risk for the safety of the community.
Yes, Your Honor. She said that in July I had an arrest, which is not true. I had a citation and I did show up to court. I have a full-time job and I take care of my father. He has cancer. At that address that I was arrested from, Your Honor. I have no intent of not showing up. I do see myself as a reputable person of the community, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. And do you happen to know what the CCDC hold is for?
Yes, sir. It is traffic. It's for a what is it? Where you drive over a barrier. But I couldn't see it due to the systems being down. I didn't even know that was even a thing. That was the only thing that I had.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, based on the history and the nature of the alleged facts in this case and that hold at a CCDC, I'm finding that is clear and convincing evidence that bail is the least restrictive means to secure presence of future court dates as well as for the safety of the alleged victim in this case. And so I'm going to require bail, and it is going to be $2,000 cash or bond with the conditions of release that were requested. So there are 2 of them. The first is to have no contact with the named victim, and that means no contact whatsoever. Any questions about that order, Mr. Martin?
That is a little bit hard, Your Honor, because we do have a daughter together. Yes, sir.
So no questions?
Yes, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how to go. Yeah, how am I supposed to go about, taking care of my daughter when we have a daughter together with the alleged victim?
Is there a custody order with regard to your daughter?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Javna, are you aware of a child in common?
I don't believe the report states anything about a child in common, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Martin, let's do this. For now, the court's order is going to stand, the no contact with the victim, and that, as I indicated, means no contact whatsoever. You will be seen on Monday for your arraignment on this charge. And so if you can bring additional information for your attorney to present with regard to the child you have in common, because as was noted, there was no indication about the child in the report. And based on what you're telling me, there's no custody order in place. And so I need to admonish you, Mr. Martin, that any violation of the no contact order may result in a new misdemeanor charge, modification or addition of a new condition of release, revocation of bail and remand to custody, or the imposition of any other penalty prescribed by law. The second condition of release is to have no further arrests or citations. And as I noted, Mr. Martin, we'll see you for your arraignment on Monday, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And for the record, I just want to make sure we have the spelling correct for the no contact. Tezzzie, last name Pele.
I have court's indulgence. I want to make sure that we have it. Pele, that is correct.
Thank you. Return court date is Monday, October 13, 2025, 1:30 p.m. Department 1. Page 12, City of Henderson versus Regina Matthews, 25 CR 720-37201.
Your Honor, she refused to come to the bail hearing today, asking to continue this until Monday.
And I'm finding that her absence is good cause to continue the bail hearing to Monday. I will note for the record, prior to the hearing, I did review the declaration of arrest for probable cause purposes, and I do find it's probable cause for the arrest.
Okay, this is continued to Monday, October 13, 2025, 1:30 p.m. Department 1, bail stands.
Oh, you heard about it. Let's see something.
We're on page 13. City of Henderson versus Marianne McCormick, 25 CR 7158.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon.
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charge of domestic battery. We're going to begin first with arguments from the city. Mr. Javana.
And Your Honor, at this time, the city is not filing charges in this case.
All right, so ma'am, given that information, you'll be released on your own recognizance, okay?
I'm getting out?
You're going to be released, yes.
That takes us to page 14, City of Henderson versus John Mendez, 25 CR 7156.
Good afternoon, sir.
How's it going, Your Honor?
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charge of domestic battery, and we'll begin with arguments from the city. Mr. Javana.
And Your Honor, at this time, the city is requesting bail be set in the amount of $3,000 cash only, with a no contact with the named victim, and abstain from all alcohol and controlled substances. There's clear and convincing evidence that is the least restrictive means, one, to ensure the defendant shows up to court, and two, that he continues to not commit new crimes. First, he does have 5 cycles in Texas, but the last one, apologize, court's indulgence, apparently did not write it with neat handwriting, and now I can't read it, with 2020 being the last cycle. They range from assault on a family member, failure to stop and give info at an accident, violation of a bond or protective order, assault causing bodily injury, family. He also has an arrest in 2023 for battery, domestic violence, strangulation. On the NPR, he's a 5 moderate. The reason the city is requesting to abstain, the defendant admitted to drinking. The victim alleged that he was intoxicated, and police noted that they could smell alcohol on him. In this case, he chased the victim down the street. She actually had to use a neighbor's phone to call 911, and there were injuries consistent with the allegation. So based on all of that, the city is requesting $3,000 cash only, no contact, and abstain.
And Mr. Javana, I missed it. When was the most recent charge out of Texas?
2020.
Thank you. Ms. Person.
Yes, Your Honor. So there's an update to the risk assessment, and that he is employed at Sturgeon Electric full-time. So that would bring that score to a 4, which is a low. based upon that, he's asking for a reduction in bail, if not an OR at this time.
Thank you. All right, and sir, given most especially the history of violent-based offenses that you were arrested or cited for, I am finding that that is clear and convincing evidence that bail is the least restrictive means to account for the safety of the community and the safety of the named victim in this particular case. So I'm going to require bail. It will be $5,000 cash or bond with the conditions of release that were requested. So there are three. The first is to have no contact with the named victim. That does mean no contact whatsoever. And Mr. Mendez, any questions about that order?
No, sir. I know that, I'm the landlord at the house and she was getting, well, we got an eviction that we're supposed to go to this week sometime for, 'cause we had been separated a year. She came and kicked the door down, so.
Okay,
It was
all right.
snow.
So just make sure there's no contact, sir. I am
Yes, sir.
admonishing you that any violation of the no contact order may result in a new misdemeanor charge, modification or addition of a new condition of release, revocation of bail, and remand to custody or the imposition of any other penalty prescribed by law. The second condition of release is to abstain, meaning no use or possession of alcohol and all controlled substances. That does include marijuana, unless you have a valid medical marijuana card. The third is to have no further arrests or citations. And sir, we will see you for your arraignment on Monday, okay?
Court date is October 13, 2025, 30 p.m., Department 1. Judge, we're on page 15. City of Henderson versus Rayon Miller, 25 CR 7159.
Your Honor, Brianna Miller decided to go back to the cell.
All right, thank you.
Also, Alfredo Martinez decided to go back to the cell.
Who was the second name?
Alfredo Prieto Martinez.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Purser?
We're asking to continue this until Monday with the arraignment, Your Honor.
All right, I do find Mr. Miller's absence is due cause to continue the bail hearing.
Okay, this is continued to Monday, October 13, 2025. That's at 1:30 p.m. Department 1. Bail stands. We're on page 16, City of Henderson versus Alfredo Prieto Martinez, 25 CR 7200.
We are asking to, sounds like he went back to his cell, so asking to continue this with his arraignment on Monday.
And I do find his absence is good cause to continue the bail hearing to Monday.
This will be October 13, 2025, 3 p.m. Department 2, bail stands. We're on page 17, City of Henderson versus Tristan Prim, 25 CR 7179.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. This is the time set for the bail hearing on the charge of resisting a public officer. We're going to begin with arguments from the city first. Mr. Javana.
And Your Honor, for the record, he was a 2-0 on the NPR and he has no criminal history. So based on that, the city would submit on an owner cognizance release. However, the city is requesting a stay away from TLC Care Center located at 1500 Warm Springs Road. That's where the initial call resulted from regarding a potential battery, which the victim in that case didn't want to proceed, but that's where the resisting came from. So we are requesting that stay away from there.
Ms. Purser, would you like to be heard?
Court's indulgent. Tristan, do you have a problem staying away from that location?
No, no problem, man.
No problem? Okay. So he doesn't oppose allowing having that as a condition, asking for an OR, Your Honor.
Right, Mr. Prim, you are going to be released on your own recognizance. We will see you, however, on Monday for your arraignment on the charge. And I am imposing the conditions of release that were requested. So there are two. The first is to stay away from TLC on Warm Springs Road. The second is to have no further arrests or citations. Any questions?
Nah.
Okay.
Continue to Monday, October 13, 2025, 3 p.m. Department 2. Judge, we're on page 18, City of Henderson versus Wema Q 25 CR 7207.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, hello.
And Mr. Jalvin, is this one the city's requesting time on?
That's correct. The city's requested 12 weeks for the results of the blood.
Thank you. All right, so ma'am, you may be aware the prosecution has up to a year to file a complaint. They've requested 12 weeks, and so you're going to be released. We're going to give you a new court date in about 12 weeks. That will be for a status check on whether a complaint has been filed. Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Judge.
I apologize. What was the, did we say a date?
Well, I haven't set the court date. I'm just
Okay, so I
looking
did
right
not.
now.
Thank you.
We can set this for Tuesday, January 13th, 1/13/2026. That'll be at 9 a.m. in Department 1. Which that takes us to page 19, City of Henderson versus Valeria Santos, 25 CR 7202.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
This is the time for the bail hearing on your charge of domestic battery. And before we begin the hearing, I will note for the record that prior to the hearing, I did review the declaration of arrest for probable cause purposes. I do find there was probable cause for the arrest. We'll begin first with arguments from the city. Mr. Zaba.
And Your Honor, this time the city is requesting that the court set a $3,000 bondable bail and a no contact with the named victim. There's clear convincing evidence. This is the least restrictive means, one, to ensure the defendant shows up to court, but most importantly, that she does not continue to commit crimes. The city would point out is that the defendant has a pending case of a battery domestic violence. The date of the offense is September 25th of this year, and it is the same named victim. So it's obvious while pending one charge, she committed another one. The city would also point out is that there are independent witnesses to both battery domestic violences. So based on that, the city is requesting $3,000 bondable with a no contact.
Thank you. Ms. Purser.
So I didn't receive the risk assessment in this one, so if I'm repeating myself or if it's incorrect what I gathered from my client, but she's currently working, has ties to the community. She has two, she has this and then the other domestic, but she has no problem if you want to have a no contact order. That individual is moving out of her household. But because of her lack of criminal history, lack of failures to appear, she's asking for an OR, a reduction in bail.
Thank you. And Emily, what's the status of that other domestic violence charge?
The other case is set for arraignment in Department 3 on October 23rd of this.
All right, ma'am, these are allegations at this point, but with two arrests for battery domestic violence so close in time with the same named victim, I am finding that there is clear and convincing evidence that bail is the least restrictive means to account for the safety of the community and the safety of the named victim in this case. And so I'm going to require bail. It will be $3,000 cash or bond with the conditions of release that were requested. So there are two. The first is to have no contact with the named victim. And that does mean no contact whatsoever. Any questions about that order, Ms. Santos?
No question.
All right, I do need to admonish you that any violation of the no contact order may result in a new misdemeanor charge, modification or addition of a new condition of release, revocation of bail and remand to custody, or the imposition of any other penalty prescribed by law. The second condition of release is to have no further arrests or citations, and we will see you for your arraignment on this charge on Monday, okay?
And the spelling of the victim, I have nothing attached that I.
First name is Juan, last name or middle name Antonio.
I can't spare her, Judge.
Last name one more time, Mr. Chairman.
First name is Juan, Juan, middle name Antonio, Antonio, last name Romo, Romo.
Thank you. And that return court date is going to be Monday, October 13, 2025, 1:30 p.m., Department 3. Good, we're on page 20, City of Henderson versus Pasquale Tapia, 25 CR 7182, 8385, and 84.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charge of DUI and the associated traffic charges. We're going to begin first with arguments from the city. Mr. Java.
And Your Honor, at this time, the city is requesting on the DUI for bail to be set at $1,000 bondable, and then the traffic $640 bondable. Additionally, the city is requesting an abstain from all alcohol and controlled substances. There's clear convincing evidence that is the least restrictive means. One, to make sure defendant shows up to court, but most importantly, that he does not continue to commit crimes. The city will point out there was a car accident involved in this case. It was .113 and .106. The defendant looked like he had urinated himself prior to police arriving. So obviously that's a city concern for the city, there being an accident. Additionally, pursuant to DMV records, defendant has been cited for not possessing a license in 2012, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2023. So he has a history of driving without a license. Additionally, he also has a citation for in 2016 for no insurance. So obviously it's a concern for the city. Not only is he driving uninsured, putting the members of this community in danger if there is an accident, but also he is driving under the influence while having no insurance or a valid license. So based on that, the city is making its request.
Thank you. Ms. Purser.
Your Honor, I would point out that there's an update on the risk assessment that he works full-time as a forklift operator at Olo and Bella. So that brings him to a 1 on the risk assessment. So he's asking for an OR at this time.
And Your Honor, I apologize. If we can make a record, I know Ms. Purser keeps saying there's an update on the NPR, and I got a little confused because I didn't have an updated NPR. Do you have physically in your possession an NPR that now labels him as a 1?
I have this.
Does it show a 1 on there?
It shows a 2 and then an update being that he's employed. So it'd bring it to a 1.
But it's his. It's not that they updated an NPR. It's just him making representations. He's employed and you doing the math. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm telling
Okay.
the judge there's an update.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that record was clear. It's not an officially updated NPR where they put him as a 1. It's just that he gave different representations to Ms. Purser.
All right, Mr. Tapia. The nature of the allegations, especially in the DUI case, as well as your history of being cited and or arrested for driving without a valid driver's license, I am finding that there is clear and convincing evidence, sir, that bail is the least restrictive means to ensure the safety of the community. That's why I'm going to require bail. It'd be $1,000 cash or surety on the DUI, $415 cash or surety on the driving without a valid driver's license charge. I will release you on your own recognizance on the insurance and following too closely charges. There are going to be conditions of release, 2 of them. The first is that you abstain, and that means to have no use or possession of alcohol and all controlled substances. That does include marijuana unless you have a valid medical marijuana card. The second is to have no further arrests or citations. And sir, we will see you for your arraignment on Monday, okay?
Court date is Monday, October 13, 2025, 3 p.m., Department 2. That's on page 22, City of Henderson versus Chandra Thibodeau, 25 CR 7173, 7175.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charges of driving without a valid driver's license and failing to provide proof of insurance. We're going to begin first with arguments from the city. Mr. Java.
In Your Honor, this time the city is requesting bail be set in the amount of $640 bondable. On each count, the city would present that there's clear and convincing evidence that is the least restrictive means. One, to ensure the defendant shows up to court, but two, that he does not continue to commit crimes. The city will point out in general he's got 22 arrests. However, when it relates to traffic offenses, he's got a 2015 no insurance, failure to report an accident, and duty to stop, and no license, which are similar to these cases. And he actually was in bench warrant status in that case. Additionally, he's got a 2022 no license, no insurance. He bench warranted in that case. And then he has a 2024 speeding and no license. So he's got a history of committing the same offenses. And again, as the city's position is, having somebody who's driving with no insurance, especially in light of the fact that he's got a prior arrest for having no insurance and being in an accident, is a serious concern for the city.
Thank you. Ms. Purser.
So, Your Honor, we do have an update on the risk assessment and that employment status. He works full-time at Victory Burger, and he also provided me with a cell phone number. So that brings his risk assessment to a low of 4. Based upon the nature of these charges, he has no failures to appear. He's asking for an OR at this time.
Thank you. All right, it sounds like there were some failures to appear that fell outside of the 24-month period that is counted for the risk assessment. And so I don't give those the weight that I would otherwise, but I do give them the appropriate weight, sir. So that combined with the 2 active holds or the current holds you have for active warrants, I am finding, sir, that is clear and convincing evidence that bail is the least restrictive means to secure your presence at future court dates as well as for the safety of the community. And so bail will be required. Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, you said I had holes?
Yes. I'm showing one for P&P and one for, it looks like, another supervision or probation.
I was never told that.
Yeah, they're on the court record, the court calendar today. They were also noted in the declaration of arrest. I don't have any more information, unfortunately, for you, just that they appear to be active and current. Yeah, so, sir, it's going to be bail, cash or bond on the driver's license charge, $415, cash or bond on the insurance, $740, and we will see you for your arraignment on Monday, okay?
All right.
That court date is October 13, 2025, 3 p.m., Department 2. That's on page 23, City of Henderson versus Giovanni Trujillo Dye, 25 CR 7172 7170.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How you doing?
Well, thank you. And Mr. Job, is this one the city's requesting time on?
That's correct. The city is requesting 12 weeks for the results of the blood.
Thank you. Right, so, sir, you're going to be released on your own recognizance. We're going to give you a new court date. That's going to be in about 12 weeks for a status check on whether a complaint has been filed on these charges. Any questions today?
No, sir. I appreciate you for your time.
And that return court date is going to be Tuesday, January 13, 2026, 9 a.m., Department 1. That's on page 24. City of Henderson versus Iori Valdez, 25 CR 7188, 86, and 87.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charges. Looks like possibly 2 counts of petty larceny, obstructing a public officer. Begin first with arguments from the prosecution. Mr. Javida.
In Your Honor, this time the city is requesting that bail be set in the amount of $1,000 cash on each count with a stay away from Nordstrom's Rack, located at 579 North Stephanie Street, and then Golf Galaxy, located at 561 North Stephanie Street. There's clear and convincing evidence that is least restrictive means to ensure 1, defendant shows up to court, and 2, does not continue to commit crimes. He's got 1 prior bench warrant, and then in addition to that, he also is currently in a bench warrant status on drinking alcohol in public place. He didn't show up until August 26, 2025. The NPR, he is a 6 moderate. In Nevada, he's got 8 prior arrests: battery, deadly weapon, attempt robbery, battery to commit robbery, assault with a deadly weapon, burglary, petty larceny, false statement defendant trespasses. The city would point out he also is on either parole or probation that started August 27th of 2025 when police officers contacted PNP. PNP informed them that he had failed to check in with them and they actually have been looking for him. So he is a flight risk. Additionally, the obstructing in this case, he did provide police officers false information about his identity once they made contact with him.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer?
Yes, Your Honor. So he had no knowledge of that he was in bench warrant in the Las Vegas Justice Court. But there is an update in that he is employed with Cafe Rio in a full-time capacity. So that does bring his risk assessment down with regards to employment status. So he's asking for reasonable bail to be set.
And for the record, Your Honor, the bench warrant is there might be one in Las Vegas, but there's also looks like one here in Henderson.
Yes, I see that. Thank you. All right, Mr. Valdez, given that history, specifically the history of recently of theft-related offenses, as well as failure to appear.
Sorry?
The issue with the parole and probation. I am finding, sir, that there is clear and convincing evidence that bail is the least restrictive means, both to secure your presence at future court dates as well as for the safety of the community. And so I'm going to require bail. It is going to be $1,000 cash only on each of these three charges. And I'm going to impose the conditions of release that were requested. So there are two. The first is to stay away from both Nordstrom's Rack and Golf Galaxy on Stephanie Street in the city of Henderson. The second is to have no further arrests or citations. And Mr. Valdez, we will see you back for your arraignment on Monday, okay?
Okay.
And that return court date is Monday, October 13th, 2025, 1:30 p.m. Department 1. And that takes us now to page 26. City of Henderson versus Ryan White, 25 CR 7189 and 91.
So Ryan was supposed to be there.
He's coming. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good morning, Judge.
This is the time set for the bail hearing on your charges of DUI and open container in a vehicle. And Mr. Jacques, is this one the city's requesting time?
No, Your Honor, the city is going to be filing a complaint, so we are ready to argue bail.
Okay, and you may proceed.
And Your Honor, this time the city is requesting bail be set on the DUI at $3,000 bondable and the open container $640 bondable. The city is also requesting an abstain all controlled substances. There's current convincing evidence that is the least restrictive means to ensure that one defendant shows up to court, but most importantly does not continue to commit crimes. The city would point out he's got 2 prior arrests. They include resisting public officer, disorderly conduct, and a battery domestic violence. He's currently actually on, it looks like, in direct supervision for the battery domestic violence where he's being supervised and now he committed this crime. So obviously it is a concern for the city that somebody who's being currently supervised by this very jurisdiction and now is committing a new crime. So based on that, the city is making its request.
Thank you. Ms. Brewster.
Yeah, I didn't have any information about the supervision, but it does look like he is a low risk, so he's asking for an OR at this time.
Thank you. All right, and Mr. Wright, that pretrial risk assessment score that came back low, that did not factor in your domestic battery case, 25 CR 7 that you're being supervised on, and looks like you're going to be seen Monday for the alleged violation in that case. And so given that and the history, I'm finding, sir, that there is clear and convincing evidence that bail is the least restrictive means to ensure for the safety of the community. And so I will require bail. It will be $2,000 cash or surety on the DUI and $245 cash or surety on the open container charge. I am imposing the conditions of release that were requested. So there are 2. The first is to abstain, meaning no use or possession of alcohol and all controlled substances. That does include marijuana unless you have a valid medical marijuana card. The second is to have no further arrests or citations. And we will see you back for your arraignment on Monday, okay?
Yes, sir.
Return
So,
court date.
so no, I'm here.
Return court date is October 13, 2025, 3 p.m. Department 2. Judge, that takes us to page 1. City of Henderson versus Brandon Brown, 25 CR 7206.
Mr. Brown went back to himself. He can continue this arraignment with, continue the bail hearing with his arraignment.
Yes, and I do find his absence is good cause to continue the bail hearing to Monday. And they'll just send the paperwork through DocuSign for the PC review. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll continue this case to Monday, October 13, 2025, 1:30 p.m. Department 1, bail stands. Judge, that should be everybody on calendar.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge. We'll go off the record.